Here's how I colored this panel of Sukuna. First, I decide the setting I want. Here I know I want Sukuna to be darker and backlit. Starting with the background gives me a better idea for how I want the rest to go. I don't care for the details yet, but I'm making all the planes that face the horizon light. Now I'm using a cloud brush to speed up the process and find some nice shapes, going from big to small, just seeing what works. I was happy with this. Now moving on to lighting. I put a hard light layer over the whole thing and blocked out the light areas with a lighter shade. Staying zoomed out because this stage is just about how readable and appealing it's as a thumbnail. I also introduce a few other colors at this stage to make it easier for later. So this is the template for the shading I want to follow. Erasing the sky so I can do backlight. I wanted to go for cinematic look, so I used a vignette. Here I used a gradient in overlay to bring more color to the background. Still using a cloud brush to make edits. Now I zoom in more so I can detail the back. I want more visible texture, so I used a hard oil brush. Following the same principle, whatever is facing the horizon gets light shade, whatever is blocked gets dark. I usually eyedrop from the colors that are already there. Here I was thinking of changing the canvas aspect ratio, but it didn't work lol. Zooming in to start working on the character. Only using a soft brush first to do the ambient occlusion shadows. These are shadows not affected by the lighting but by the form. So wherever there's two things overlapping, there's a soft shadow. I think of it as what shapes would be less exposed to light, based on the way they're constructed. I try to define that early on to get some good form structure. This is the main way I'm detailing, since most of the character will be in the shadows anyway. Now zooming out again to work on the overall shadows. And moving on to the mask. Same thing for every element. Here I switch to gouache for the harder texture. Nothing much IDK what this part is. I'm not very worried for how this looks, because most of my shading is in the hard light layer. Making the liner dark again for the time being, to help me figure out what's going on with the hair. Again, harder brush for the hair. I hide and unhide layers however necessary to make it easier to work. Some shine on the sword. IDK what this was, so I deleted it. Now I'm finishing doing the same ambient shading for every element. Onto the overall lighting. Trying out what else I can do to make it more interesting. So I brush spam a bunch of things. Here I'm removing, blurring, etc., but I'm not happy with it. So I tried a different color scheme. And finally added the backlight I was meaning to. I select the group character layers so I can have a simple selection to soft brush light on. This keeps the process clean. I always group the layers of the character base colors. Here I decided this is the version I'll be working on. Add a harsher rim light with the pen. Needs to be above all the layers to stand out. Then blend a little around the edges so it's more natural. Now I would move on to overpainting. More details on top of the liner, but I did that off screen because I forgot. This is some of the process. Just picked a brush I like and worked on every area that I think could use more details. It's nice to cover the liner so it doesn't look too cartoony, but more painted. When I changed the color scheme, rocks ended up to saturated. Trying to find out what layer is the issue. I wanted to find a color that's not too bright or too blue, so they don't attract attention. Ended up grayish and changed the yellow light to whitish. Detailing again and making the light softer to show more background depth. Here I started to feel the sky was underwhelming, so I'd bring in more texture and new forms. But I kinda hate it, it's too saturated. I dumped a bunch of cloud brushes to see what sticks. Sorry for the double wheels, my OBS fucked up. Detailing with a round brush after. I always go from bigger to smaller. In the end I decide it's too dark and I don't like it. So I blur it all back. Now I'm doing finishing touches. And I added soft light to the background to try to blur. Some final color adjustments for oomph. In the end I deleted the extra cloud details.